Hey guys, what's up? TV Drifting here. Today, I think what we're going to do is try and start like a mini series, just kind of story of how things in my life have worked out to where I can now drift. I kind of want to start out with this first part of the series, just talking about events that led up to my first event. So what we're going to do is start out from the day that I bought my car, which I'll insert a picture of what it looked like when I bought it, up until what it looked like in my first event and how I did and what I did to the car.
Double-digit thousands.
It was probably back in 2013, 2014 when I went to my very first drift event. I was not competing. I just simply went to go watch, see what the hype was about on all this drifting stuff. So we went to the event, and you know, I've loved cars since day one. My dad raised me, so he is a European automotive technician, and so I've been around the European car scene my whole life. I love cars. It's something that I love doing. I love tinkering with them, working on them. You know, not necessarily working on other people's stuff as kind of like a job, but working on my stuff, you know, making a difference on the things that I drive, as well as, you know, helping friends with their cars, make them look better, make them work better. Just like in the previous video you saw, I helped Aaron actually pull the motor on his 2JZ Kooky. I enjoy doing stuff like that. I enjoy tinkering and stuff like that. So like I said, I've grown up around them my whole life, and anything car related I've been into. Like, cars is just what I love doing. So basically I went to this first drift event not knowing what to expect. You know, I've seen Tokyo Drift, the movie and all of that, and it was a really cool video, but you know, I didn't even know that that was a real thing. So I went to this drift event, and it was East End Drift. They put it on over at Chilhowie Park. We went to the event, watched them. It was an awesome experience just to watch them. It wasn't until like the third event that I went to at Chilhowie Park that I actually got to do a ride along. I got to ride along with a local. His name's Eric. He was driving at the time. I think he had a white Kooky 240SX with a VQ motor in it. I got to ride with him. That was one of the first ones I ever got to ride in. So I rode with him. The ride in a drift car was just life-changing for me. Like, the way that it feels to go around a corner out of control, but still being in control, it's a totally different feeling. So I fell in love with it from day one since I got in the car. And I just kind of, you know, wished and hoped that one day I could have my own drift car. So after that, I actually came in contact with a guy who was in the East End drift scene, and he drove an RX-7 FC. His name is Josh. I contacted him on Facebook, and, you know, basically put out, anybody willing to let me drive their car for this weekend's event, I'll be willing to pay for you to get in, as well as myself, so we can drive together. I don't have to do many runs, just some to kind of get my feet wet before I jump into this drifting thing, you know, spend money on a car and not really know that that's what I want to do. So Josh contacted me and said, hey man, look, I'm running kind of short on money for this event. If you want to help me get into it, I'm more than happy to let you use my car. Thank you, Josh. I went to this event. It was pretty fun. I have to say that I did not expect myself to be as good as I was. Even Josh told me, you know, I didn't expect you to be that good. I didn't expect you to come out here and actually start linking stuff. So after that first event, you know, I got hungry for it. I jumped in, I bought me another car. I bought a 96 BMW 328i 4-door. I was going to school full time, I was working full time. I had that car and another car, and decided I was gonna move out on my own. So I bought an apartment. You know, a week before I bought this apartment, I went to look for furniture. Furniture was expensive. I bought basically a full house set for $2,800, but I didn't have the cash at the time. So I applied to get a loan through the furniture company. They did not approve me. My credit was too low. So the only option I had was to sell the BMW. Sold it, so then I was stuck with no drift car. After that, bills started accumulating. You know, I was in debt, I had school going on, I just didn't have time to mess with it. Well, here in the last 2 years, I've actually gotten a job with this power equipment company, and I'm making decent money. My bills are at the minimal, I'm debt free now. And I just started thinking, now would be a good time to jump into this drift thing if I want to try it out. So I got on Facebook and saw that another acquaintance that I knew was actually starting to get into the vehicle parting out scene. So he was kind of jumping back and forth between cars and parting some out. So I hit him up, and sure enough, he had a BMW. It was a 94 325 IS. The car ran and drove fine. It needed a couple small things, but he was going to try and part it out. So I asked him basically to give me a price on what he would take for the shell, motor, and front seats. So I went and looked at this car, and it was actually in a lot better shape than I thought it was. We looked at it, and I was totally fine with having him gut the interior, and he could sell all the interior pieces. So we agreed on $800. That bought the car, the 2 front seats, steering wheel, dash, engine, wheels. I got it home pretty much with $800. So after I bought it, I didn't really mess with it for a month or two. It just kind of sat, and I was kind of building up money. After the first couple of months, I decided I was going to start building it because, at this time I bought the car back in October of 2016, and the drift season started February 25th. That was the first drift event of East 10 Drift, and I put it off and put it off and put it off. I did not start building the car until January 2017. All I did was I buffed the paint, brought it to a shine, changed the wheels up. That was really it for the car. So then come January, it's time to hustle. So I ordered coilovers. That was the first thing I ordered. I ordered coilovers for it. I went with the BC Racing coilovers. Ended up getting a custom spring rate from BC. Basically what I did was I went on the internet and looked at what all the drift guys were using as far as coilover setups go, and took those spring rates that they were using off these drift coilover setups, and had BC custom make these coilovers, which I don't believe BC charges anymore if you want custom make coilovers. I went with the BR series, so it's got the dampening adjusters, and that's about the only thing you can adjust other than camber and height. But I bought those, put them on the car. I had ordered an ASD hydraulic handbrake. It was in about the same time the coilovers were. I had a guy install it for me. I guess the next thing I did was welded the differential. So I went to a junkyard, grabbed the differential out of a car there that actually had a lower gear. It was a 391 as opposed to the 295 that was in the car to begin with. We had it welded. A local shop here did it, Knox Power. They did it, and they did my handbrake. So at this point, we're now at coilovers, we're at welded diff, and hydraulic handbrake. Those are the only essentials you need to jump in a car, have a decent setup, and of course tires, maybe a couple set of wheels. But so at this point, I was ready to go, and this all boils down to I was not prepared. I did not know what I was getting myself into, so I went into a little bit of debt trying to get these parts together before the first event. I basically put this car together, ready to go first day of drift in 5 weeks. The car, we get it to where we want it, adjust the ride height, camber's all good, set it up. I decaled it up for the first event. I wanted it to look like a race car. We get ready to go to the first event. We get there, sign up, my nerves, I have huge anxiety issues. My nerves go crazy when there's something going on that I'm just super nervous about. this is definitely one of them. You know, for me to go out in front of some people who have done the drifting since day one and basically not knowing what I'm doing, this is my first time in this car doing this, I was scared to death. They put us in 2 run groups. They put us in group A or group B. I'm not sure how they determined which group to put us in. I think it was just based on when you got to the tech inspection booth. So I ended up in group B, which I was super happy with. I got to let group A go out before me, so I got to see what lines they were running. I got to ride with someone in group A, just so I can kind of get the feel of the track. It was basically just a big figure 8 for the first event, which I was super stoked about. It was super easy. Meanwhile, while we're watching, you know, people go out and shred in group A, you can just see that I'm starting to get nervous, starting to get white in the face, and I feel like I'm about to throw up because my anxiety is so crazy, it's out of the roof. By the time it's group B time, I don't know what I'm thinking in my head. It's just like one of those things like, is this real? This is really happening. I'm getting to do what I wanted to do, you know, for years, and it's finally come true. It's my time to shine. I get to go out with these guys, show them what I can do, whether I'm good or not. There's gonna be those guys out there that just give you pointers, and I'm so thankful for those guys. You know, you go out there not knowing what you're doing, and they kind of help you along, tell you what you could have done better here, what you didn't do here that you should have done. But I went out with that attitude of just, this is my first time. Get out, go out for my first couple runs. Didn't spin one time. I was so happy. You know, I was like, oh, I'm really getting the hang of this stuff. So I started thinking, well, I have to be some kind of natural at this. I wasn't the best out there at the first event. I know that. I definitely am not saying that I'm amazing at doing this. I've got a knack for it. I'm not trying to be cocky. I will never try and be cocky in front of you guys because it's not who I am. If anything, I put myself down more than I raise myself up. And luckily I have those friends that are behind me, you know, friends, family, everybody that's behind me that just kind of lifts me up. It's kind of boosted me up a little bit to where I'm kind of confident now that whenever I go out, I'm not as nervous. You know, I'm just letting it flow. And so after the first event, I got pretty comfortable with the car, and I'd have to say it wasn't the best. I spun a couple of times during the day, but I had a great time, and since that day I've just become addicted to it. It's an awesome feeling to get out there and basically control a car without being in control of the car, if that makes sense. So, you know, I'm hoping to keep on doing it. More and more events are going to come up. I'm going to travel a little bit more and try and get my name out there. Basically, the moral of this video is just to show you that if it's something that you want to do, I work every day just to try and pay bills and get everything that I want out of life. But one thing that I've tried to make room for is that one thing that I love and one thing that I wanted to do from day one, and that is to buy a drift car and basically set this car up to where I want it. But I didn't spend a ton of money to do it. You know, you see these guys out here with $20,000 in their car out there just bashing it up. I literally, by the first event, I had $2,000 in my car. So starting out, you don't have to have the best stuff out there. You want to learn on stuff that's easier to drive, a lower powered car. Work for it, strive toward it, and it'll come true if you let it. You know, just be patient with it, and it'll all come together. Put stuff together. It doesn't have to be the nicest thing out there. You know, take your time when you're researching parts, and you don't have to get the most expensive part, but just try and stay away from the cheapest part, because you do get what you pay for in this world. Anyways, hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Many more videos to come. You know, we've got another drift event next week at Smoky Stadium, which was the first event that we ever went to. We're going back there, and it should be a good time. I'll probably try and make a video between now and then, maybe 2 or 3. So be sure and stay tuned. Thanks, guys. See you.